TSM will earn their place in St. Louis.
Let's go Liquid to the finals, to St. Louis. No one's gonna stop them now.
Hello, St. Louis!
Hello, Chaffetz Arena, and welcome to the 2019 LCS Spring Finals.
Hell yeah! It is our pleasure to introduce to you today the two teams about to compete here in our 2019 Spring Final.
Over the course of the last 3 months, these two teams have proven time and time again they are the best League of Legends squads in North America. Today, they determine who is #1 and who will represent North America at MSI.
First up, the most successful North American League of Legends team of all time, TSM! They have moved past the era of guaranteed finals. They have moved through the difficulties of the previous year. And today, Bjergsen and his teammates stand before you, whether you are here in the arena now or watching from home, to remind everyone that titles belong to TSM.
Opposite them, your two-time defending LCS champions, Team Liquid. This super team is unrivaled on paper, with two world champions flanking the greatest North American AD carry of all time. Doublelift and his teammates are ready to prove today that old dynasties are dead, and new dynasties are here to stay.
Please welcome Team Liquid and TSM. Challenged by TSM's upstart, Impact versus Broken Blade.
In the jungle position, the greatest jungler to ever grace the LCS, opposite a first-time finalist, looking to prove his worth. Let's hear it for Acadian versus Xfinity!
Supporting today, your 2019 Spring MVP versus a man who has tasted a Game 5 finals before and still hungers for that first finals victory. Core JJ versus Smoothie.
Next up, two world semifinalists aiming for their first ever LCS title. Put your hands together for Jensen and Sven!
And finally, it is my distinct honor to introduce the two winningest players in LCS history. A five-time LCS champion versus a five-time LCS champion. Head-to-head for the title of greatest of all time, Bjergsen versus Double Lift.
St. Louis, please give it up one more time for your finalists, Team Liquid and TSM!
Dark, let the final tears pour. When you're done, wipe your eyes, put your feet on the floor. Grab your keys and your phone, shirt from the day before. Breathe in, breathe out, walk through the front door. Gun my engine in the driveway. Try to plan it, now it's my way. They want a rematch, we gon' give them one more. You were down for the count, we gon' settle this score.
A lot of damage on Cloud9, and here comes your janitor, baby! TSM will find their fight! He's gonna get crescendo! They're gonna have a follow-through, and Double Lift takes him down!
Wasn't ready for your dominance. Finally found the right time. Victory's a fine wine. Lose until you win. Damn, what a fine line.
And TSM will earn their place in St. Louis.
Team Liquid back on form for their date with TSM.
Thank you, St. Louis! Champion Select is upon us soon. Two five-time champions squaring off for their 6th trophy right before you now. Bjergsen and Double Lift, the best players North America has ever seen.
And what an epic matchup this is going to be. Live here in the arena with the energy of this crowd. LCS Finals always holds a special place in my heart.
It gets the blood pumping, the introduction, the atmosphere is electric, and the stage feels set for one of the greatest series of all time.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely beautiful as the teams sit down and get ready. The gateway to the west becomes the gateway to the east. MSI on the line, of course, not only the title of best team in North America, Liquid hoping to tie TSM in that 3 consecutive title category. Of course, TSM with their win here would be more titles than all other teams combined for the 3rd time for them as an organization. Absolutely outstanding what they have done. And Champion Select has begun. Let's hear it again. Team Liquid and TSM hitting the rift.
Everyone on this stage has worked so hard for this moment to become champions. Let's start out off with the strategy though. Coaches on stage for both sides have gotten into the bans so far. A lot of solo lane focus here.
Yeah, you can tell they want to shut Bjergsen down, denying a lot of his most popular roaming picks. He has been one of the best mid laners in the league at getting kills outside of that mid lane. And these bans clearly focus at stopping that.
Meanwhile, on the side of TSM, banning away the Taric of that Sona Taric bottom lane, as well as the Jace that Team Liquid have used to split push.
It was a question we had of what kind of form Impact would have heading into the playoffs. Could he play more than just tanks over and over again? And here, even pulling the Jace ban Broken Blade, willing to get that off of his plate.
And the question becomes, will TSM save that red side last pick for Broken Blade? Will they be playing through their star top laner, or is it going to be more about Bjergsen and the 1v1 that he will have with Jensen?
We've seen such great things out of Broken Blade, coming over from the TCL, representing Turkey so well in the LCS. And that has been such a successful strategy. Already with the Tahm Kench, that alludes to a possible split push. The Abyssal Voyage, such a great tool later in the game.
Yeah, and it makes it even harder for Impact. If you want to play carry versus carry, you are blind pick very likely. Now there's the additional, added pressure of having that Tahm Kench who can answer your split push and disrupt any potential 1v1.
Meanwhile, on the side of Team Liquid, great team fighters have been locked in. Sivir, Galio, very good AoE.
Also, a lot of answer to that side lane, right? You talk about the ability for Tahm Kench to go to a side lane to help out a split pusher. Galio can do that too. Galio can be entering in with the ultimate and certainly mix things up in that side lane.
And a classic combo here to top off that Galio, Azael. The Jarvan-Galio combination, one of the best and most classic engaged combinations of champions in League of Legends.
Exactly. Team fight, the name of the game here for Team Liquid. Yet to see their mid or top laner picked up. They'll wait to counter that one. We'll see if TSM wants to answer their own jungle matchup, and they will. The Rek'Sai comes through for Acadian.
And that is a pick I wanted to talk about because in North America, we have seen Rek'Sai with such a strong showing throughout the playoffs, and Jarvan has been struggling, has not been winning out in this jungle matchup. So pressure here already on Smithy to be able to perform in game one.
And Acadian specifically on the Rek'Sai, this has been his best champion this split. Huge carry performances from him early on in the game, ganking very heavily, getting those solo lanes going.
You can see now with the ban towards Gangplank, another sort of blind pick top laner that Team Liquid may have wanted to go for here. If you want impact on a carry, this is something that is a bit of a signature pick for him that he's been able to survive on to withstand the onslaught and come back in that late game. And it will be denied, which is leaning me to think more and more that Broken Blade will be getting that last pick, that it will be about that carry versus carry top.
And it does look like we are going to have a little bit of split focus here. The Aurelia ban does come through, trying to chip away at those carry champions for Broken Blade. Top lane is the name of the game.
Oh, wait to see as the mid laner gets banned away as well. Recently, you had 6 on your screen. 2-time LCS champion on CLG joins TSM this split and immediately makes it right back to the finals here, coaching his second ever LCS team after his long stint with CLG. And now Team Liquid, the super team, one final ban, and then we'll see what TSM locks in for either solo lane.
The LeBlanc taken off the table for Jensen. Throughout his career, Jensen, a lane-dominant mid-lane player. And LeBlanc, even on the world stage, he has found success with it.
Covering the echo, the diss towards Jensen there. You gotta love it. Sven is trying to get in the heads.
There's so much history on this stage. Every champion hover tells a story. The Lucian for double lift as well.
The Yorick first pick, which TSM beat earlier in this season, and it will be Zoe coming through here for Bjergsen in game number 1.
We know Bjergsen is excellent at that champion. Can certainly put the game into your own hands here. And a lot of poke now on this TSM lineup. Zoe plus Varus, very long range, can push people off the objectives.
And we have to remember, this could potentially be... Heimerdinger! Let's go! This could be top or mid here for Jensen or Impact. Heimerdinger, very likely mid now that the cannon has been locked in. You want a spicy pick for game 1? Let's go!
Game number 1, opening of the LCS Finals. Jensen is throwing down with the donger.
This is nothing but excellent. Vladimir gonna come through for Broken Blade to match up the Kennen. But we've got spicy picks. We've got high damage on both these teams.
And this feels to me on Team Liquid's side like you want to team fight. You want to team fight all the time. Your solo laners, tremendous amounts of AoE. The speed up for the engage coming from Sivir. J4 Galio for that hard engage, as well as the Heimerdinger ultimate grenade.
Now, Heimerdinger is a champion that wants to push the lane consistently throughout the game. Rek'Sai is a jungle champion that will try to attack that, so we'll see how these two interact early in the game. If you can protect the Heimerdinger early on, post level 6, that becomes 1v2 territory. And you can see currently he has the cleanse for the possible bubble setups, even if those do land from Bjergsen.
And we're gonna have to see how practiced these two guys are with this matchup, both on Bjergsen's side and on Jensen's side, because post 6, Zoe has to be very careful about how she uses her ultimate. It sets up really well for the Heimerdinger grenade back onto that portal. As you come back, you can get one combo.
Exactly, and landing the grenade, landing the rockets is what brings the combination together. That will charge up your cannons faster, get you those big lasers that come through, and allow you the possible 1v2 scenarios.
And it's the LCS Spring Finals, everyone. A best of 5 for prestige, for the title, and a trip to the mid-season invitational. Team Liquid, a super team, put together with the hopes of not only winning North America, but internationally as well. And TSM had the same goal, picking up Sven and making a few more changes so they got here. Acadian, his first time in playoffs, straight to finals. Let's hear it for game one. Team Liquid in the blue, TSM in the red, and a best of 5 to determine the best team this year.
Heimerdinger on the Rift, going to be dropping down these turrets, trying to block the paddle stars, avoid damage, avoid setup from Zoe in the mid lane, and that's where everybody's looking.
You can hear both these teams are crowd favorites. TSM's had the lion's share for pretty much the history of League of Legends in North America.
But TSM have returned to the finals to find Team Liquid in their spot. Back-to-back defending champions here with the MVP on their team. Bottom lane, Tribrush Ward does go down. We'll see a possible Jarvan red side scuttle pathway down here. Sven and Smoothie do not want to start it off getting ganked and burning summoners.
And if you are on the side of TSM, you've got to be thinking through all the possibilities of why they're going for the Heimerdinger, of what this means for the game. This is not something you are used to whatsoever. Wow. And Smithy with this sweeper start is going to clear this out and just go up to the scuttle. But it does make you have to worry a little bit until he shows on another ward.
Splitting of the jungles, very highly possible here. Does not get the knock-up on the crab, so he's only going to get the armor shred from his Q Pierce. Will take him a little bit longer to finish off that objective.
You can see that TSM put 3 wards down across that bottom river to really spot what Jarvan was up to early on in the game. Might have ganked Bjergsen, might have ganked that bottom lane, so he is spotted going through all that.
And you have to be so careful about where that level 2 Jarvan is, because that level 2 gank from Jarvan after red buff is so strong.
And we have to highlight, once again, Heimerdinger is supposed to push the wave early on. You can see Jensen there with these cannon minions. In addition to that, top lane with the Kennen pick into Vladimir, even though overshadowed by this Heimerdinger pick, is also supposed to be a pushing lane for Team Liquid early. And this should allow Xsmithy, the agency here on Jarvan, to keep track of Acadian, track that Rek'Sai early on in the game.
And we're going to have to find out, will it be the full-on AD split push build here from Impact? Is it going to be some of the hybrid builds we've been seeing sneaking in, like the Gunblade, or just a full-on AP? I want a team fight, rush the Proto Belt, because that's what I'm expecting based on the rest of their comp.
And Caden has to be respectful of the fact that he's been spotted by the Scryer's Bloom. Nice damage in the mid lane here by Bjergsen as the farm is equal across these players. And now look back in at Corey JJ, igniting, flashing as well, pushing Acadian off that camp with the blue buff already taken.
And the early jungle tracking is a team objective here. Corey JJ moves up from the bottom lane as they push, gets the ward down. Ignite and flash used though.
Exhaust on as well, plenty of auto attacks in for Sven. Plenty of damage on a double hit, but now the taunt. A little bit of damage back in, but still a far better trade for the TSM duo.
Yeah, the TSM duo getting a lot back there. I love the initial roam from Core JJ though. Pushing this early game jungler out of his jungle, setting the Rek'Sai behind is certainly pretty worthwhile. And Rek'Sai without the flash, his ganks are so much less effective for Acadian. But TSM does battle back, pushing double lift to pretty low HP.
The forced recall put the Rek'Sai back in, has the blue smite now, full resources back around to farming. We'll see if they can be tracked any more later on. Bottom lane very equal in farm. Overall, this game really close. Small lead to Team Liquid. You're seeing that push lead top side, and the jungle lead also paying some dividends.
Meanwhile, the extra sustain here in inventory for Sven could do a lot of work for TSM. He has the biscuit, he has the extra health potion at his disposal.
You can see how far back Broken Blade had to play. This was one of the matchups people talked about, especially towards the very end of the regular season. Could Impact hold on and carry versus carry matchup? That's all he played up against FlyQuest. That went well against Viper. Now Broken Blade, a stronger opponent. So far, so good for the Kennen, but we'll have to see as time goes on if those instincts hold up.
Yeah, Vladimir going to scale extremely well early on, low cooldown or long cooldowns on the Q. Definitely hurts the sustain. He's just trying to get that CS at his turret without giving up too much plate damage. Kennen's goal early on here is to get money through the turret plates.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, if you're not able to accomplish that, Vladimir will hit a point where you're at level 9. You have your Kindle Gem, you have your Phoenix Codex, and your CDR is stacking up, and you can't pressure him anymore.
You see damage still coming through at level 5. That Doran shield making it easy to sustain. There's the rank 3 Q, heals again, and Broken Blade is still staying alive and able to pick up this farm under his turret. So health not being denied, farm not being denied so badly either, as Bjergsen pushes down whatever things he can in this mid lane. Wait to see the next round of recalls, as Jensen and Bjergsen both have walked back to the lanes after their first purchases.
Looks like Acadian very deep in enemy territory right now, and Xmithie pinging on this Rek'Sai in the top part of their jungle. Impact is just teleported back. They're gonna find this Rek'Sai.
Smite goes through as Xmithie picks
Impact.
that one up. Now Acadian does have a way over the wall. Ult comes in for Impact. Not a chase through just yet. Now he's there. Acadian is low. And first blood of the finals goes to Impact.
Xmithie, the veteran here, Team Liquid tracking Acadian's movements into their jungle. And with the teleport top lane, Impact closes the door and there's no exit.
And credit also to Core JJ, who forced Acadian's flash early on in the game. There was no way out for Acadian, so TL are able to make that collapse and shut down the early game of this Rek'Sai.
Xmithie getting rid of some of the movement options as well as he pops the blast cone and ensures that that top jungle is not going to be too exciting. Watch that kill one more time. He's spotted and doesn't use the blast cone to get out.
And as I was talking about earlier, they are pinging down on Acadian. They knew he was going in here. Xmithie uses the blast cone, still has the EQ left over, and they're able to pick up that kill without expending any summoners of their own. Broken Blade trying to fight back.
And no ult for Impact makes that fight pretty easy. Can't get the last empowered Q off, but still health bar damage done. Impact ultiless, teleportless, will have a harder time in this lane now. Must sustain with that lifesteal.
And Impact starting Cutlass here. Certainly in the past I would have said this means Blade of the Rune King. This does mean, split push, but we have seen a couple times in the playoffs already the Gunblade coming into popularity in the LCS, so this still very well may be a bit of a hybrid build, and what it does give you is a bit more of that sustain. When you are going to be in this poke matchup, if you rush Proto Belt, you can get out sustained, you can get poked out. Gunblade going to help you have more staying power.
Dragon started up here by Team Liquid. Xmithie on the bottom side with a control ward and a pushing bottom lane. Means that Team Liquid will turn their eyes towards the first objective of the game and claim Cloud Drake.
This will be the only Cloud seen in the finals so far. This is Xmithie picking this one up. No problems there. Smites gets the honey fruit. Able to walk away pretty easily. And look at this game. 900 to 1,000 gold up plus the Drake. Team Liquid, pound for pound, on paper, supposed to be the better players, and laning phase is going their way now for a dive bot side. Ulti and slicing Maelstrom is gigantic damage, but they drop the aggro. They put the burst back in, and Acadian Andrew's track. He will drop to the turret, but it's still an advantage TSM.
Very well played by Impact, though. There was even a Zoe Redemption, I do believe, coming across the map to help out on that dive, but Impact trading 1-for-1. Pretty impressive there. He doesn't have his teleport though, so he will be falling behind in experience. He will be falling behind in CS in that 1v1.
TSM once again looking at the top lane here. Broken Blade on the Vladimir actually ahead in CS over Impact after this dive. Just taking a look at how it happens. I don't think they expected the ultimate to be back up so quickly. That there is where all the damage comes from. It forces an early ultimate out of Acadian, so he cannot drop tower aggro later. Then Broken Blade has to drop tower aggro with the pool on Vladimir a bit earlier than expected. Very close timing window on creating that play.
It definitely was, and Impact going to be happy that Broken Blade did not actually get the kill credit, right? It went to the Rek'Sai, so he is certainly gold positive, though he is a bit down on experience off the play, and he's off to the races, is going to be going towards that Gunblade for the sustain against Vladimir, wants to keep getting those Klepto procs non-stop, wants to be trading, wants to be pushing, and really that's the goal for TL across the board. They've drafted these 3 pushing lanes, and it's allowing Xmithie to have more agency around the map.
Yeah, the Gunblade build does give you still a very effective early lane, but you also get to go AP for team fighting later on. Meanwhile, this Heimerdinger, a couple of the combinations that we'll be seeing from Jensen here. You can throw out your grenade. As the grenade is in the air, you place down a turret. If that lands, it charges up your turret for the empowered shot. You get the big damage combinations that way and a lot quicker, so there's not a lot of reaction time for your opponents.
And we've got to remember how good Heimer is at actually taking objectives. Later on, dropping triple turret plus ultimate turret, you have a tremendous amount of Baron threat, you have a tremendous amount of Dragon and Rift Herald threat. That is something that TSM will always have to be aware of.
Well, we're waiting to see what else they can put into this game, because top lane was a 1-for-1 when they did go for the gank. Now Acadian is bottom side as Ven might look for a play, but 4JJ can take this one up and double can spell shield. Goes for the E, doesn't get spell shield to that yet, and still can reactively get rid of the crowd control. And Acadian is waiting around to make sure that nothing's happening, and looks like there is no gank to be had. as the minions are cleared and Team Liquid will play under their turret.
And as you can see on the mini-map, there are some deeper wards for Team Liquid that see this Rek'Sai's movement, the entrance back into the jungle here. So Team Liquid can extrapolate from this information on bottom side the next movements up to the other side of the jungle from Acadian and try and keep track of the jungler that way.
Certainly can, and we'll see if Smithy can actually make anything of that. He does have the early stopwatch. This is going to be more playmaking on his side, and certainly the ability to go for this Rift Herald is being sniffed out by Acadian, but if you have two pushing lanes, it is something that you can look to do.
Yeah, big advantage there with the Rek'Sai passive, gets to see the radar pings go down on Smithy, starting up the Rift Herald. And I believe Acadian's still burrowed, so they should know this objective is under threat.
And you're seeing Bjergsen slink over to this side of the map as well as Acadian walks around. There's the movement yet again, can surmise pretty easily. Even Smoothie's here now as well, as Sven is going to be under turret, double lift the same. Both supports look to be heading to this side of the map. Just the scuttle though, and out goes Team Liquid.
Yeah,
Smithy.
Smithy giving up on the Rift Herald, the bigger one, and going for the little defenseless Scuttle Crab, is able to get it much easier, but TSM will not have to fight over that.
Nice turret, puts it down, I think, reactively to block the Battlestar Bjergsen would have put down, so Jensen's still playing this matchup very, very well, not taking much poke at all.
Yep, one of the things we mentioned for Champ to select, when picked into the Zoe, trying to block these skill shots, Zoe has to look for more creative angles, and even then, the reactive turrets can still come down if you haven't used up your charges already.
And that can just get harder and harder in a team fight when there's a Jarvan there, there's a Galio there, plus all these turrets, and you're trying to bend those paddle stars around to reach those carries. It makes Zoe's job that much more difficult, and it is TSM now pushing up, looking for turret plate damage here, but Doublelift has gone the Essence Reaver build, which is going to give him a tremendous amount of wave clear. You won't run out of the mana. You can constantly be spamming out those spells and making sure that they don't have access to the turret.
So far, we are at 2 turrets taken in the top side in favor of Impact up there. Part of the gold lead that Team Liquid has is that 320 picked up. You can see individually 1,400 gold above his opponent, 700 from the kills onto Acadian. Only the very small, actually 75 gold assist for Broken Blade on that one, and you can see the plates mattering quite a lot as well. So this build, this Sustain working so well for Impact. He's got the Sork Shoes done, and second Cloud Drake is alive.
And it's really everything on top of that too. He's Klepto as well, right? So it's all this added gold is kind of propelling him more quickly to the rest of this build, because one of the criticisms of the Gunblade start is that if you go into a team fight with just the Gunblade, your flank, your kind of upfront burst is often worse in a team fight than with the Proto Belt, where you can position yourself more effectively. But he's going to get to that 2 items very fast.
And it does give you the power in the 1v1 here. Impact goes in, use the activation, large chunk onto Broken Blade. Now teleport is available. We'll see if they're expended here, because the Rift Herald, once again, under attack.
Getting fought back and forth. Plates will drop in 30 seconds, so it won't mean the gold donations, but it could still mean a lot for turret pressure.
Coming in.
Teleport is coming in indeed. Let's see how this fight now moves forward as Broken Blade rejoins the fray after the recall. Has extra ability power into himself. Low on the Herald.
Both bottom lanes are coming up. The Galio can ult as well.
We've got Smoothie coming in. Look for the play again. Blocked out. There's no damage out of Bjergsen's Paddle Star. Lower health. Here comes the cannon. Big damage to the front line. Looking for one. Not just yet. Acadian goes down. 1 for 0. Team Liquid. Broken Blade on the back line. Stopwatch buys some space. Impact flashes away. Still does the 1 kill. Looking for the second. 1 more Q. Answered back by Broken Blade. No knockup yet. Sven gets away. 2 for 1. Team Liquid. They get 2 for 2 overall. A third kill now for TL. A third one comes back for TSM as Croydon shows up, but only to run away. 2v2 left on the map. They got to get away from this one. He's got the sleep. Triple for Bjergsen!
Incredible team fight there from Bjergsen, mopping up so many members. He's the man who took down Doublelift as he TP'd in, and Doublelift have very little effect in that fight.
The carries for TSM, Bjergsen and Sven. Let's take another look at the replay for this fight. Rift Herald getting pulled in 2 different directions as the teleports do come in. Abyssal Voyage as well as the Galio walking up this river.
Yeah, and look at Doublelift. He was so far away, he has to use his teleport, just now joining in that side rush, but he's going to get hit immediately here by Bjergsen. Bjergsen is able to really get a lot of damage down on Doublelift, and you'll see his effectiveness in this team fight was actually very, very low.
Yeah, gets him with the bubble there at the end, and then the damage coming through. Sven and Bjergsen fighting off and picking up those extra kills. Acadian getting hyped. We like to see that.
And you should be happy with your TSM fans. The team fight that went +1 kill. Now onto the Drake Smithy in the pit without flash. He blast coned over, does have EQ, dodges some of this. Now Smithy getting the hits across. There's a pickup in for Bjergsen. Drakes are tied, kills are tied in the gold. Not far apart, but top lane, Impact stays in the lane, gets first turret.
Yeah, Impact should also be getting hype here, getting some gold for himself now. Level 11 on the cannon. Rift Herald used for Team Liquid on bottom side, and they're pushing it forward.
Yeah, that Rift Herald was the added advantage for TL from that team fight, and they're looking to take a second tower very quickly here. Unless Acadian wants to go in, this is going to be theirs, and it will be 2 quick turrets for Team Liquid here, opening up a pretty big gold lead.
Yep, 2,300 gold advantage for Team Liquid. The lion's share on Impact on this cannon, now into an Oblivion Orb as well. This is a very big power spike. Gold doesn't mean much in League of Legends. It's about how you spend your gold, and now he's got it in inventory here with a huge amount of damage that can come through. Level 11 plus both spell penetration items.
Exactly, and he's also building very much for this 1v1. This is AP, but this is not Protobelt Zonias. This is Gunblade going into a Morellonomicon for the healing debuff against the Vladimir, and that will be very effective against Broken Blade.
We must mention that Bjergsen is not far behind him. Soon to upgrade to Sork Shoes himself, he will also have that huge Zoe burst damage that everyone has come to fear.
There are some squishy targets in the back line. There's no magic to spot on anyone but the 2 tanks on this team. So 3 great eligible targets for Bjergsen. And we know he can take over yet another fight.
This is where TSM wants their money. In the mid game on the Zoe. He can roam around, look for bubbles, try and find picks for the team. Even Impact here, gonna have to back off.
Quick trade of farm, he'll decide to go back in and press the couple of buttons there, get away from the bubble, he's just fine, and ooh, that's half the health bar. Just the single Q is half the health bar. Round 2, he dies. Gunblade can be sustained later on. Right now, no neutral objectives worth taking. Baron and the next Drake gonna spawn at similar times here into this one. You sit on that same 2,000 gold lead for Team Liquid, all of that sitting on Impact.
All right, as we approach the mid game, we need to get into how the overall compositions are going to interact. Once again, from Champion Select, Team Liquid locking in that very consistent engage combination. Jarvan and Galio, one of the most classic in the game. And Smithy is going full tank. He is working towards the extra activation here. Does have the stopwatch in inventory, so he can start it off by the time
Empowered.
before.
That's a stun, they might catch. Little damage on this smoothie right here, there's a taunt. He is flashless, but the follow through isn't quite there, he'll stay alive.
And I think another critical thing to mention is how much AoE is on the side of TL. Tahm Kench can save one person, he cannot save your whole team. When Heimerdinger and the Impact Ultimate is coming in with the cannon, you know, Sivir ricocheting across your whole team, that's so many members who can be threatened at once if TL gets that proper engage.
And they're grouping up right now around the mid turret, sieging with Heimerdinger. Turrets are down. TSM trying to clear these waves with Sven on your screen, regenerating, trying to lifesteal off those minions.
Next wave of minions gonna come in the next 15 seconds, and Team Liquid wanting to stay around this one. No Drake to kill, but a turret to siege.
And TSM, what they are looking for most here are the Zoe bubbles over the wall. Is follow-up from Varus Ultimate going to be there? Those picks will open up the opportunities that they want. Bjergsen going in on Jensen.
And Jensen was close enough to his own turret that he still took splash damage, chunked down to 1/4, finds another ult grenade, and slowed now by the GLP. Out has to go the sleeping Galio. Woken back up a century late, but still able to walk away. No piercing arrow to land from Sven either.
And that paddle star from Bjergsen onto Jensen diffuses the entire push there from Team Liquid, weaving it around those minions, around those turrets. That means he has to go to base, and that one spell puts TSM on the offensive.
Yep, TSM pushing right back down the mid lane, and tower damage is coming through quickly.
Down to half health. The recalls know that they're pretty safe. Walking in is one. A little bit of damage towards Sven, but he knows he's got a Tahm Kench nearby. Blocks out. Turret does stay up, but it is one rude look away from falling.
And the big difference, Team Liquid calling Impact up, their split pusher. TSM leave Broken Blade down on the bottom side. He pushes the minion wave into the turret and roams up in time for the setup for this Drake. 20 seconds left on the arrival of the Mountain Drake, and TSM are trying to take over vision in River.
And TSM having that vision is so critical, especially with a Zoe on your team. Fighting into Zoe when you cannot see where she is so incredibly difficult, and TL, I think, are gonna have a really difficult time approaching.
Yep, the #1 spell they're looking for, once again, Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Doesn't land this one behind Jensen. And again, we haven't seen Broken Blade on the Vladimir join up for the team fight. A large amount of AoE also available from this champion if they do collapse.
Temporary position lead for Team Liquid, but not vision, as the Scuttle Crab was taken by TSM, and they're gun shy about starting that Drake in full visibility. Spells gonna hit, but they're blocking this one. Big poke out towards Jensen, and once again, Team Liquid forced away by the 1-2 punch of that Danish poke.
Yep, you're not gonna be able to block the piercing arrow from Sven. The whole reason it's named that is it's gonna pierce right through your defenses, and that alone is going to earn TSM control of this Drake.
Yeah, and I mean, you're still gonna get the damage amp from that Zoe sleep. That is not wasted whatsoever, so very difficult to actually survive through that, and it makes it so critical for TL to be able to avoid those sleepy trouble bubbles and to be able to track Bjergsen throughout this entire game.
Back and forth here in game #1, opening up the finals. Team Liquid now looking with their opportunities. Galio ultimate available, Jarvan ultimate available, and the Gargoyle Stone Plate also completed for X-Smithy. He is a main tank, Jarvan, to go in and look for the initiations, set up their large AoE combinations.
And it looks like it is on TL to make that sea change happen. TSM won so many of their games this split in comeback victories with rough early games, but amazing mid games where they came back from deficits, had an insane record with gold deficits at 15. They're doing it again here, getting Drake after Drake, winning a couple of team fights in a row now.
And you can see how well Sven and Bjergsen are actually buying time for a Broken Blade. He was getting dominated in that side lane, put behind, lost his turret. But now, every time Impact is having to roam up, it's still the TSM carries that are pushing TL back, that are buying more time for this Vladimir to scale up. And he has now hit 2 items, and those are the team fight items here. With the Zonias, with the Proto Belt, you can dive in and really threaten the TL backline.
Team Liquid, though, relentless with their push on mid lane. Continuing to chip away.
Not quite the knockup on Smithy, able to flag and drag away. Mid-turret down to 40%. TSM yet to finish knocking down the outer themselves as Bjergsen walks away from the Heimer Rockets.
One of the most important things when sieging up this turret is vision surrounding your flanks for TSM. Looking for the angles that Zoe can fire off the poke from. They've been able to see both sides. A lot of these control wards, deep wards there you can see in the Raptor Pit as well, allows Jensen on this Heimerdinger to relentlessly push forward.
And now the setup towards this top river. A control ward in the pit. They got the scuttle as well, but there's still that defensive ward by TSM in the back towards Baron, and so no sneaks are going to happen here. TSM still safe in their mid game as their second item has come through for Sven. Bjergsen's on a great spot as well. Both teams scaling up.
And it's so interesting to see Impact really fully committing to this kind of 1v1 style build. He's building into a Banshee's Veil next. It is not a Zonia's still, which is going to make it much more dangerous if you're diving in a 5v5 to not have that defensive stasis. But TL, relentless aggression here in the mid lane. Getting this turret lower and lower and lower, and this may finally be it going down.
That'll finally be it. So 3-0 out of towards Scott. Now the flash engage and knock up to score JJ. No root hat for Sven. Now the backline access. Just a solo kill for Acadian. But here comes Kennen. He's going to find one. The knockup should be a second. Team Liquid do win the fight. Now Broken Blade has to run. Or will it be a re-engage? The health. Oh, the empowered E. What a play from the new top laner. Look at a bit more. A bit knockup, but not a lot of damage for Smithy. Now towards Templin. Chased down. Not quite killed, but a slobber knocker of a fight.
What a turnaround there! Acadian and TSM strike first, only to have Team Liquid re-engage with the large AoE, but Broken Blade on Vladimir puts out the damage and fixes up the extra kill.
Yeah, that was sick from Broken Blade. Looked like he flashed around Core JJ to actually make sure his E would land on the carries, avoiding all of that blocked damage that would have been there. And this was TSM looking for the engage. The turret goes down, but you can see Broken Blade is already posturing into
Watch
Acadian.
Acadian solos Jensen. No assist in this fight.
Yep, he's able to get the ult off, conquer proc, E Bright, true damage, and Smoothie tries to save him, but then Impact, counter-attack for Team Liquid. Gets Galio ulted on top. They kill Acadian, and they kill Smoothie. Then they don't have enough damage to finish off the Vladimir. Broken Blade goes for the re-engage around the extra carry. Actually kills them both.
Yeah.
Gets the 2-for-1 there, and you can see the Vladimir healing is starting to come in. Also allowing Bjergsen and Sven, the backline for TSM, to follow that up. All that being said, the difference in that team fight was only 1 kill apiece. Team Liquid still very much in this.
I mean, it's a game of inches here, so close, and honestly, I think so much of that is about the fact that TSM was the proactive team there, that they're the ones engaging. If it is your carries getting engaged upon by the Galio Jarvan, it's so much more difficult for Sven and Bjergsen to be able to put out that DPS.
We have to keep track of the summoner spells used. All the carries except for the mid laners here use flashes in that last team fight. Now Bjergsen and Jensen, the only ones left with flashes.
The question for me is also, will the soul lanes of TL be going towards the Zhonya's at any point? You know, they're really itemizing towards the Banshees because it is Zoe plus Vladimir and even some magic damage coming through from Varus. But without the Zhonyas, you have the chance of getting 100 to 0 like that.
And currently, they are committing to double F split pushing on top side. This is a double F classic. Sivir pushing the minion wave quickly, going for the tower trade for that second Mountain Drake. Will that Mountain Drake come back to bite them? TSM now have 2 in the pocket, which will put more pressure if control of the Baron Pit is ever given up.
If it's given up. But from the back foot, Mountain Drake means nothing, and Double F should now have Infinity Edge money. And that could mean the map control flipping back. 3 full items to only 2 plus a Zeal. Double F is far stronger than Sven right now.
Exactly. Mountain Drake won't mean much if you don't get control of the map. And Double F now does have the firepower.
Yeah, he certainly does, and this isn't even IE Double Zeal. This is an Essence Reaver, which is even more powerful in this 3-item build. This really is Double Lift online for the team fights now. Certainly, any mistakes made by those TSM carries, those ricochet crits can come through and knock you down.
The difficulty is the backline access TSM has. Acadian and Broken Blade both have shown they can take out backliners by themselves. Jensen, still no stopwatch. Double Lift, no Guardian Angel. Those characters can be one shot.
And that is why I feel that it has to be TL who is engaging, not them trying to disengage and back off. They need to be sending the Jarvan Galio forward to buy space for Jensen and Double Lift to work.
Now there's the play. Sivir pops the ult. Here comes the dunk. They've caught Smoothie inside, but it is only the tank so far. They pop him 1 for 0. They chase in. They've caught another. And Sven goes down onto Baron, his Team Liquid.
All right, Team Liquid use all the ultimates here. Baron started up. They've got Heimerdinger. This thing's going to burn down. Can Acadian pull off a steal?
No blast plant, no flash. He can tunnel over, and TSM have vision. CoreJJ finds a taunt. Will it be the follow-through? Good damage on a Broken Blade. He will slink away. It will be a redemption to keep CoreJJ alive. The health bar comes back up for the Vladimir. That might be enough to push Team Liquid off, and it is.
Yeah, that is huge for TSM. The 3-man squad dissuades Team Liquid from taking the Baron. It looked like it would have been theirs, but that is the kind of fight you want to see TL take. They go forward. They make space for the carries, and they are awarded with 2 kills.
Double F popping the Sivir ultimate to allow the initiation there. Speed boosting Xmithy to go in, and we'll take another look at it. Coming down the river here, does kill off the ward. As soon as they see them, go up the bend here. Smoothie, they know has no flash, so they target the Tom Kench. Will not be able to get out of it, and immediately all ultimates get used.
Definitely can say, I think Sven should have maybe just fully backed off there as Smoothie was engaged onto. He did not have flash, he doesn't have QSS, and without the Tom Kench, you can't position that aggressively. So Sven is punished there, but it's TSM now starting up the Baron. They want to force Impact's TP.
And you mentioned Double Mountain. You mentioned Double Mountain. It can be very, very fast. No TP for a few seconds. There's actually a window here where he's got to keep walking up the river, and Baron's at a 6K.
Yeah, Acadian taking a lot of damage.
And we got Broken Blade on the flank as well. We know what he can do to the back line, but it's enough with the cannon showing in mid for TSM to back off.
So TL will now just push it up mid lane. They will try to bring TSM to them. You can see Smithy threatening a bit on the side here as TL will start to knock away at this turret.
Nice little bit of wave clear. Almost the Q lands. Battlestar not going to hit, though, and Team Liquid get damage to the turret and back off.
Yeah, TSM do not have a very strong main tank to be able to threaten these Baron attempts with. Even with the double Mountain Drake, there is a big cost to starting that up. You saw Acadian Hellfire, bottom side.
Big play to Impact, flashes the open slowed. There is now no way out. Impact has been exhausted. He'll be beset. He'll pop the zone, but he is certain to die. But on the mid side, they have caught them. They have traded solo laners on both sides now as mid tier 2 will fall.
TL get way more from that, though. Impact bought so much time, and this may be the inhibitor turret falling for TSM.
Can TSM fight without Bjergsen? Can TL fight without Impact? Sven on the backside. He feels safe. In goes Broken Blade. In goes Acadian. They're going to try to find that kill. Hemo Plague will kill one. They look for a second and get it. Doublet falls for a third. What a fight for TSM.
Epic game one here as TSM strike back. Team Liquid are at the doors and they chase them off. Baron will be their reward.
Smithy somehow without flash and without a health bar must stop this versus 4, but it's not gonna happen. The re-engage without Bjergsen over his corpse. TSM will get the kills. They wait for the respawn and they grab the Baron on 5.
The engages from Acadian have been incredible, buying so much time. Look at him when he does go in. This is going to be Bjergsen actually getting picked off a little bit earlier. Bjergsen without flash gets ulted up and absolutely knocked down.
Yeah, great focus fire there from Doublelift and Jensen. This was Team Liquid's counterattack, and they made a strong shove into mid lane. But as you're saying, Acadian on Rek'Sai. This is his champion. Forces the engage. Broken Blade on Vladimir is able to flank around, flashes in, and they completely rout Team Liquid's offensive push.
Yeah, Acadian bought so much time there. Really well-timed ultimate, goes out of vision, can't actually be hit, then into the stopwatch, and that created so much space for Broken Blade.
We're right back out onto the map, though. Team Liquid will take another objective for themselves. This Mountain Drake will be theirs. St. Louis is not disappointing in our first game of the finals.
We are 32 minutes in. This is a dead even game. Only advantage is the Baron buff really here for TSM. The gold completely tied, and TL certainly have the wave clear to be able to deal with this. We are in for a treat.
It will continue to be about how well they can play the map. TSM have some standing gold to pick up as Liquid have picked up 6 turrets. The next ones are a bit more difficult. TSM, of course, all the tier 2s up on the plate. Now keep in mind, mid inhibitor is dead for the next 3.5. That will be passive map control that will force TSM's hand to play a bit more defensively, and they may just lose out a lot of this Baron buff.
And we can see where will they funnel this money. They're actually splitting it between Sven and Broken Blade right now. It's all about communicating who's closer to these item completions at this point in the game. An extra item on one of these carries, doesn't even matter which one, does mean the difference. Bjergsen with the Baron buff, pushing up this side lane here. Meanwhile, the mid lane, they're trying to keep it in check by staying in Fog of War and slowly moving over. Broken Blade doesn't have his teleport, though.
Positioning going to be relevant as Bjergsen pokes around on the side right now. The rest of his team in Fog of War right behind him. Broken Blade shepherding in the mid lane. Without the vision inside that river, he knows he has to play a little bit safely. Without that vision in the jungle, he doesn't quite know where they are now, knows, and can easily push back up against Impact and knock down that turret.
And these 4 items for Vladimir really does mean he has reached full-on late game. Death Cap, Zhonya's, Void Staff, and Protobell, his team fighting it, and just potential damage output is absurd. Broken Blade alone can win a team fight.
You can one-shot backline with the Void Staff. You can certainly hit frontline pretty well also. This is a TSM comp that is online. They can poke, they can hit backline as well.
Can they get to double it?
And down the top, they found damage. Quickly picked up by Smoothie. Can they keep Sven alive? Over the wall he goes. That'll be all right. Nice stopwatch. And here comes Slicing Maelstrom. Hemo Plague over the top as well. But 1-for-0. Team Liquid still healthy. Now in the front line they go, but it's going to be the jungler dead. Broken Blade gets the shutdown gold there as well. A 1-for-1.
Team Liquid get the first kill, but Smithy chasing over the wall gets focused down. TSM turn around and answer back. Again, a 1-for-1 fight.
So even again, Smithy just getting a little bit too hypey there after the initial kill, but they did, get some of these TSM members low. We'll see if they can manage to get back onto Sven.
Or dropped on a half HP. Wave clear not too bad from the Team Liquid side as Baron buff time's out now, but there's enough for wave. The ult grenade not going to be enough. Cannon still alive, and TSM do pick up their 5th turret of the game. 3,000 gold lead as they reset here.
And critical to mention, the next dragon will be the Elder. That is so big for them. And CoreJJ out of vision. Taunt flash onto Sven. He gets very low, but they don't have CC to deny the Tom Catch Devour.
Yeah, Smoothie does get there in time. Saves his AD carry over the wall. Re-engaged by Broken Blade, but Impact with the Kennen ultimate gets the big stun down there. They split the team and kill Smoothie off. Then Smithy tries to chase over the wall, but the rest of Team Liquid cannot follow. Sven and Bjergsen, along with Broken Blade, focusing him down.
A bit more of a gift now to the 700 kill bounty Vladimir. Absolutely doing amazingly in the late game here. 6 kills, millions of ability power. In reality, 699, a great number to have, and ready to keep going.
What a split it has been for Broken Blade. Coming over from the TCL, representing Turkey, definitely doing them proud. And showing up for TSM. Still, the mid inhibitor not responding yet. 25 seconds left on that one for TSM. Baron has timed out, and the next one is up in 1 minute.
And Doublelift is picking up more and more items here. He now has the Maw on top of the QSS. These defensive items will allow him the safety to move forward more aggressively in these team fights and potentially look to turn them around.
Team Liquid need to protect Doublelift. Keep this marksman auto-attacking throughout the team fight. The DPS output potential can be giant, but he has to have openings to get those auto attacks off.
And one of the most difficult things about that is how do you peel the Vladimir with this comp off of Doublelift? Because Broken Blade dives towards him, pushing him out of the fight and not really allowing Doublelift space to get those auto attacks out.
Bit of early poke comes in, pushing Team Liquid to the far side of the lane. Another Drowsy, and out goes Jarvan, but Bjergsen can follow through. Not quite gonna land that paddle star. Merc Treads not there, but still able to walk away in time. And now TSM have control over mid. Doublelift, face chain a couple of champions. Gotta be careful, poke down, so very low. He could almost drop, and there's the backline of Canyon, finds him yet again. Team fight 4v5, and TSM feel good about this one. Looking at damage towards CoreJJ, shorted on the wall. 2 for 0, and TSM look to strike first in this series.
Doublelift pokes his head out of the river, and TSM immediately react. Now the Baron gonna be taken down, and this will be number 2.
And not only that, they have full map control. It's got to be straight to the Elder here for TSM. They're going to try to get both of these super buffs and look to close out game 1.
Team Liquid were first inside the base of TSM, destroying the inhibitor, but TSM getting all the neutral objectives here. Elder Dragon picked up, along with Baron buff.
It's everything TSM could want, and you can hear the chant. You can see this fight again. They say, we see Doublelift, and all of them go for broke.
And Doublelift was just way too far forward there, away from the rest of his team. He gets caught, and when your carry is out of the fight that early, that is not a team fight you can win. Certainly a huge mistake by him.
On a stage as big as this, you often look, is there any hesitation? None from the side of TSM there, trying to collapse and kill the enemy carry. They know this is the most important player on the enemy team. If they take this Sivir out, the team fight is theirs.
And we're full build down the Vladimir. Spellbinder done. He's not going to grow anymore. It's full late game for this mage. The new pickup for TSM. Hyped, but not a ton of pro experience, but he is showing up in his first LCS final.
And now it's up to TL to try to hold on, to try to wave clear and not give up the base to this Elder plus Baron push. But it is going to be so difficult, and one combo from Bjergsen could mean a carry goes down and the game does end.
Tempted ult grenade, not going to find good targets there for Jensen, but I appreciate the play in Fog of War. No follow through though, that's going to be a cooldown. Broken Blade knocks down the bottom turret. No TP, no flash, impact neither. Power of Evil paying respects to his fellow German. Some good Vladimir play here for Broken Blade.
Broken Blade truly, truly a god so far. We'll see if they can complete game number 1 here as TSM's onslaught continues. Top, mid, and bottom waves all being pushed up. These cannon minions being buffed up by Baron. Bottom side has been breached already. Will Team Liquid go for it?
You got to figure out when they want to go for this one. Look for the ult stun. Good damage into Bjergsen, but no follow through. And yet again, Acadian and his mid lane are able to walk away.
And look at these autos from Broken Blade onto the objectives. He has so much AP, plus the Elder, the Baron AP as well. He is shredding through these turrets, and TL's base is absolutely crumbling. It feels like they need to engage now or the game may just end before they get a chance.
They gave away all 3 inhibitors at this point. Without the turrets, it's not easy to fight. They press the buttons. They look for Bjergsen flashing away, staying alive. The buildings are all gone, but the team fight, what's that going to look like? Here comes Smoothie. He's going to keep the back line safe. Down goes one already. Broken Blade getting yet another kill. And now for the last few kills, TSM are just wreaking havoc. A double kill, may get a triple in his first LCS finals, and he wants even more!
Do they go for it?
Quadra for the Vladimir, and the next is more important. TSM 1-0.
They said this finals would be a close one. Game number 1 was that.
So even back and forth, and for TSM, a very well-played game, but you have to give so much credit to the new guys here. Acadian, Broken Blade, really stepping up for their team and making it count.
And you can see the smile there on Bjergsen's face. The veteran very happy with the performance of his teammates on the biggest stage. There's a reason why people keep pointing it out. In an arena like this, with the crowd chants behind you, so many things can go differently, and yet they perform. A mistake in that game will cost you everything.
And that was certainly after Acadian was put behind in that early game. He's able to find the incredible engages on this champion that is supposed to fall off, that is supposed to be weak at that point in the game. So really so much credit to him. And now I'm so interested to see, what will the draft choices be? Will TL try to go to red? Will TSM, be trying to play to that side constantly? Because despite the fact that Impact got way ahead early, the Vladimir was unstoppable late.
Broken Blade had a 2-kill lane opponent who got some plates early on as well, and yet 11-1-6, highest gold in the game at 20,000. He was the carry. Broken Blade was the difference in this game. It was him heads and shoulders above his opponent, so that is something you definitely have to keep in mind. TSM also are the team that normally drop game 1 in the series. Quarters and semis on the road to finals here. They dropped game 1. They start out strong in this one. A TSM that wins game 1 looks even sharper going into the rest of that series.
All split long. This has been a very different TSM from the one that fans have known, and it's looking good.
It certainly is, and I've also, got to wonder, how do they feel about how the Heidinger performed? Was it even worth the pick there from Jensen? Because that was such a story in Pick Bam, but did not feel like a factor throughout the game whatsoever. Bjergsen was certainly able to deal with Jensen on the Heimer and really did not feel like it had a huge impact.
Well, we'll see what it looks like in the rest of that series. A best of 5, at least 2 more in front of us, but the State Farm analyst desk is standing by to give us a breakdown of that game 1.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We're going to welcome Meteos to the desk to help us break down game 1, which went the way of TSM. But I think that game 1, you couldn't have asked for a better way to start a 5-game series. And with that, both teams showed us within this game alone why they deserve to be in this final.
Right, what a game, dude. I hope we go to 5 games. I hope every single one is like that. I don't even care who wins if every game is like that. There's so many outplays in all these fights.
And this last fight was TSM pushing down 3 inhibitors. You know what you need to do. Make the most out of the Baron. And Team Liquid is desperate. They're trying to find a way in. It's worked before engaging on Bjergsen, but this time he has Flash, and now the rest of the team is there to clean it up. This is Broken Blade just being so incredibly fit. The first time of the game, he actually has his worst hemo play, only hit 1 person. Otherwise, it would have been a 4 to 5 man, and it's all downhill from there for Team Liquid.
I mean, at that point, you're risking losing 3 inhibitors, so you have to go in, but when Flash is available, Summoner's up, there's no way you win that fight. So TSM clinch and close out game 1.
Final moments for TSM. Got to feel good to pick up that first game of the series. But I want to now take us all the way back to draft. We heard Azael asking the question, was the Heimerdinger worth it? Meteos, what are your thoughts here from the Team Liquid game plan?
I keep seeing this trend of teams early picking Jarvan while Rek'Sai is available as a counter pick, and I don't know if I've ever seen it work. I know Crumbs is
stat here. Jarvan is now 1-10 in playoffs, by the way.
He's got to worry.
He has won.
Keeping track.
He has won.
So, to be fair, there were things that they could do different in this draft. I think you can talk about the Jarvan, you can talk about that, but this game felt a lot about execution to me. Like, I look at that draft and I say, I would have liked some things different too, but when you look at how it played out and the advantages Team Liquid had, that was 100% a winnable game. that they got outplayed in some team fights and made their own unforced errors.
So I think TSM did play the team fights really well. Every single time there's a fight, they commit every single person. But that was a 4v5. Jensen was not in this game. His Heimer was not good.
Right.
Just play something you're better at.
All right, and Heimer is supposed to have a really good lane phase for Zoe due to the fact that you can just push in, you're not that afraid of dying. But he was staying even in CS, and he didn't have any lane pressure. And as the team fight started happening, where was he at? I didn't see him. He just wasn't there.
It did seem like his Heimerdinger wasn't the most polished. I don't know how much practice he really has on that champion. Just watching team fights, you know, he was missing his abilities pretty often. I remember the one in the Rift Herald fight, he kind of like chased Vlad instead of sticking with his team. So he looked maybe a little uncomfortable on that champion.
It's hard. It's a hard champion.
Mark, you talk about chances to win or opportunities to take a lead here for Team Liquid, but missed execution. Let's dive into some of the replays here because this was an action-packed game. As we mentioned, fights going both ways throughout the series.
And I think what Meteos is talking about in terms of staying with his team, at some point he gets slept, or he gets zoned out here with the root, takes the cleanse and flashes over the wall, even though he has core JJ coming to support and Double Lift showing up not far behind, and they kind of tunnel on trying to finish off his Vlad.
Yeah, this is the part I was talking about where I think they would win this fight if he went to the right and played with his team. But instead he chases Vlad and just turns it into a 1v1 where, you know, he's the mage on the team. He's the AoE team fighter, and he's just chasing down a low HP target who can't really fight. So I don't know if that was the best decision there.
Right. I want to give some props to Peters in this fight. He lands 3 sleepy bubbles in a row, and those are hard skill shots to hit. But every one that he hit forced a summoner or got a kill, and I'm kind of regretting not picking him for GOAT anymore after this performance.
Yeah, he played very well.
Mistake.
And that was huge too, because that was kind of the bridge. The early game was not going super well for them. They were losing turret plates all over the map, and they had all these other problems.
I do have to commend TL's early game. If I was a Cadian playing against that, I would be so tilted. You know, you got a support flashing on you in your bottom side jungle. You got Kennen killing you top side.
That was a bad invade, though. His laners had just both base. Yeah. Teleports first. He's like, oh, let's get in here without flash.
It was sketchy, but, you know.
You talk about the bridge. Let's talk about that bridge, because I think you always look to your star player to kick things off, just as they needed in Game 3 against Cloud9. Bjergsen steps up, and then here in Game 1, he steps up and allows Broken Blade and Acadian to have the confidence to make these plays.
And honestly, the more I'm looking at Broken Blade, the more I'm convinced that this is someone that's going to stay on TSM for a very long time in the same vein that Bjergsen has. His performance today was, at least in this game, was incredible. Like, we thought this fight was going to go Team Liquid's way from the very get-go, but an amazing Hemoplague turns it around, and it's not the only fight that happened.
Right. I actually thought Acadian was going to Inter, honestly.
Right?
He jumped in by himself. I thought he's just going to straight die. And then the way that Broken Blade played that team fight is insane. I've seen so many people play Vladimir, but they don't know when they need to go in or know how to take the fight. He's running away 1v4, but then he's like, oh, wait, I can turn around and kill everyone here. And he actually goes for that play. He's got to have some balls to go for that.
Oh, yeah. The action did not stop there. Our next replay comes to you as a big play, with tons of you tweeting out about this action-packed Game 1 and Broken Blade's Vlad ult to secure TSM the first Baron.
I mean, in a game with Bjergsen, Double Lift, Core JJ, Sven, all these huge names, it became about Broken Blade, which is a testament to how big he was in these team fights, finding the 4-man flank and setting up his team to win this fight, huddling right as they try and take the blast cone out, so he's able to stick on whichever target he actually wants.
It's a montage. You could make a montage for him of only Game 1, and it would still be more than 5 minutes long.
It was definitely a very good Vlad play. I actually have to give some props to Acadian, too, because on both of those plays, Acadian was going in as kind of like the sole initiation Rek'Sai with a cleaver into 5 people, right? Like, it's very easy to end in that situation, but he was able to, you know, still get a lot of damage out and at the same time set up his Vlad for a really good team fight.
And he sniped out Double Lift. He sniped out Double Lift with the Rek'Sai and Vlad to actually secure a Baron that ended the game as well. So even though he was the first blood, he turned it around real quick.
And a lot of times you're making that initiation knowing there's a high chance that you are dying for the sake of the play for the entire team. Now, TSM, they've elected to go to blue side. So even after the victory from red, they will swap over to blue, and we have no substitutions coming in. I don't think that's going to necessarily surprise anybody. But I want to talk about what these teams might change here going into Game 2. For Team Liquid, if it all came up to execution, is there nothing we do in the draft, and how do we then execute better?
Well, I was not saying nothing in the draft.
Sorry, I'm not putting words in your mouth.
Yeah, but I think going to blue side, I'm interested if TSM still has to ban the Taric. They've had a week to prepare for it, potentially learn it themselves, and they didn't want to, I think, take a risk on like trying to cheese against a very strong strategy. So I think they're trying to, if they win game 1, they don't need to overreact like that. So I'm interested to see if they play it, do they ban it again? I think that will define a lot of this game.
One thing that I think is going to be pretty interesting for this game on blue side is both Zoe and Rek'Sai are much easier to pick on red side than blue side because, you know, you can pick it third and then ban the counters, or ban the counters and pick it fourth kind of deal. But on blue, you know, if you blind Zoe, they can respond with LeBlanc. If you blind Rek'Sai, they can respond with Kindred. So it might be a harder draft for TSM in that regard.
I actually kind of want to see Impact maybe play someone other than Kennen. I wasn't very impressed by his Kennen because when you're playing Kennen, you don't want to just run straight at them. It's so obvious what you're going to do. You have to find angles where you come from flanks, similar to Broken Blade's Vladimir. He's coming from behind or finding good ways to engage after his team, but I didn't see a single good engage from Impact, and he built Hextech Gunblade to try and win lane, and Broken Blade went to build for team fights, and then there's such a huge difference of like the impact in the game. So maybe give him on a different character.
No more Jarvan. I already know that that's what you want, Crumbs. But talk to me about early versus late. Because in this game, TL started hot. They got the first couple kills, and that gold was put onto the Kennen. But it wasn't translated into a victory. So should TL continue to index early, or should they start building a little bit more reserved?
So I think they should be a little bit more reserved with these games. It's going to be a grueling series. No matter what's going to happen, you're going to have to take your time with a lot of these games. So I think what Team Liquid should do is recognize what their composition does and do exactly what Hai just mentioned. You can't just run straight at him with the Sivir every single time because you're up against a poke comp. So with Varus and Zoe, they're just going to be able to hit you a few times, and that already prevents you from wanting to hard engage. So if you're not creative in making sure that the poke is not just shooting in one direction, it's not going to work. So they need to make sure that they establish deep vision and find creative ways to engage that don't make it so easy for TSM to respond.
I mean, the other thing, too, is I want to see Doublelift step up. We'd be remiss to not mention the fact that they lost their second Baron buff because Doublelift wandered without his team into mid lane randomly.
All right, well, the teams are making their way back to the stage. We've got to take a break in just a moment. Meteos, I didn't have you on the desk at the top of the day, but I want your prediction. You've got the benefit of game 1 in the book. Who do you think's taking the series?
Well, before the series, I predicted TL 3-1, so I should stick with that. But TSM's looking really good, so I could see it going either way.
All right, there you have it. TSM have dealt the first blow, but Team Liquid are here to defend the title. See what they break out in game 2 after this.